Hello guys, welcome back to ReactionVid. I'm Vicky.
Peter here.
Welcome to today's reaction episode. Whereby you're back with an episode of Dear Prudence, but it's not the song itself, but it's some information about a drum mystery in the
most beautiful song.
Yeah, a drum mystery in the in the Beatles' most beautiful song, Dear Prudence. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're going to learn more about the drums in the song. Let's stay tuned, guys. This was brought to us by Dan. So thank you so much, Dan, for this. Thank you for the support. Thank you for another amazing episode. So stay tuned, guys.
Exactly. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe. Subscribe here. Don't forget that we also do this each and every day, so we usually need more catalog of music, documentaries, some movies to be jumping into it. So share your favorite on our Buy Me Coffee link. Don't also forget to join our second community, being Patreon, where we post their movies and content that can't be posted on YouTube, or maybe as content that we might find blocked on YouTube. You'll be getting that on our Patreon. So mainly check our channel description for both true links, and stay tuned, vibe with us on these documentary,
a drum mystery in
the Beatles' most beautiful song, Dear Prudence. Let's go.
Dear Prudence is one of the most beautiful songs in the entire Beatles canon.
Dear Prudence.
Within the song's many captivating layers, however, is an odd anomaly that has been a source of dispute for decades among Beatle fans. In this episode, I'm going to explore that anomaly and explain why the song's special quality may be due to what's missing. As a fair warning, once I point it out, you can't unhear this. Dear Prudence appears as the second song on the Beatles' self-titled 1968 masterpiece, known as the White Album. Composed by John Lennon during the band's 1968 visit to India, the song was written for a very specific Prudence, Mia Farrow's sister, who had joined the group on their spiritual excursion, but had, in John's view at least, become a bit too entranced by meditation. And so he composed a musical plea for her to come out and play. Although written during the India trip.
You can remember the story. We jumped also into the story behind the recording of this song. And we can remember that.
Exactly.
The song was first recorded on a set of tapes known as the Esher demos, named after the location of George Harrison's estate, where the group had convened in May 1968 to collect some of their new song ideas following the India trip. This acoustic demo, much like the final song, centers around a fingerpicking style that John picked up from fellow musician Donovan, another guest on the infamous India jaunt.
Okay.
The version we know today, however, was recorded 3 months later in August 1968 during the official sessions for what would become the White Album. But there's a couple of anomalies that make this recording rather special. Firstly, it wasn't recorded at EMI Studios, the usual home where the Beatles had developed and recorded the vast majority of their songs. Instead, the group moved over to Trident Studios, a spot in Soho where the Beatles had recently recorded their landmark single, Hey Jude. Trident offered one main alluring advantage over EMI, a then state-of-the-art 8-track recorder, which would allow the group to more easily add layers such as instruments, vocals, or sound effects. EMI Studios, meanwhile, was still using 4-track equipment, practically the same setup the band had worked with for almost 5 years. Not coincidentally, an 8-track recorder would very soon appear at EMI, thanks to, of course, the insistence of the Beatles. In addition to being in a different venue, the other major anomaly that week was that the Beatles weren't the Fab Four, but only the Fab Three. On August 22nd, during a recording session for Back in the USSR, Ringo Starr stormed out of EMI Studios, allegedly after receiving one too many instructions from Paul about how he wanted a drum part to be played. The incident
this was the part we had. You remember that?
Incident where Ringo was complaining of Paul being addicted.
Trying to tell everyone what to do, not to do this. Like everything should go on his way. And this is the part after. This is the part where Ringo walked out or something. So they remember narrator is telling us there are 3, not 4 at this time.
wasn't isolated. It was the breaking point following an increasingly tense and disjointed atmosphere during recent sessions. Frustrated and exhausted, Ringo fled to the Mediterranean with his family for some much-needed rest and recuperation. Meanwhile, the other three Beatles simply continued on without him, with Paul stepping in on drums during the remainder of the sessions for back in the USSR. They finished the song the next day, Ringo still absent. Almost a week later, on August 28th, with no sign of Ringo's return, John, Paul, and George reassembled, this time at Trident Studios, to continue working on material for the new album. The trio spent 3 days laboring over John's new track, Dear Prudence. On the 28th, they recorded a suitable backing track led by John's finger-picked guitar. George Harrison contributed a second guitar, and, in Ringo's absence, Paul added some drums, just as he had done a week earlier.
So when we jumped to this song, Paul was the one playing the drums.
And it was just called some a kick. With
like, we didn't notice that until recently.
Until date.
I'm back in the USSR. The next day, August 29th, the group gathered again to overdub a plethora of new parts, including John's haunting double-tracked lead vocal.
The sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you, dear Prudence.
Yeah,
the mesmerizing harmony vocals.
Round, 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 round.
Yeah, I remember that. Round, 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 round.
Wow.
Some Indian-inspired flourishes on electric guitar.
That was my best part.
And Paul's treble-cranked bass guitar.
Okay.
Yeah,
which was the
there.
focal point of an illuminating segment in the McCartney 3-2-1 miniseries.
You know, we use a pick, then you get that very treble end.
Making full use of their 8-track setup at Trident, they continued to add in even more parts, such as tambourine and hand claps, contributed by Beatle roadie Mal Evans, Paul's cousin John McCartney, and Apple recording artist Jackie Lomax.
Okay.
Left out of the final version was a very well-deserved round of applause. There's even a funny quirk hidden within the isolated bass track. Finally, on Friday, August 30th, they finished off the song in a final evening session at Trident, with some last-minute touches from Paul on piano, and perhaps most oddly, a flugelhorn.
What's a flute? A horn.
A flugelhorn.
A flute.
A flugelhorn.
Flugelhorn.
Yeah, flugelhorn.
Okay.
It's kind of flugelhorn.
Flugelhorn. There is some.
Yeah.
With that, the densely layered recording of Dear Prudence was complete. After the weekend, the band would meet again, this time back at their home, EMI, to move on to a new song.
1, 2, 3, 4.
While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which marked the official return of Ringo Starr back into the Beatles. Or was it? Let's listen very carefully to the drum part on Dear Prudence. You'll notice that there are two very distinct sections. From the beginning of the song until around the 2-minute 45-second mark, the drum part is fairly straightforward. Then, at around 2 minutes 45 seconds, it suddenly takes on an entirely different quality in a psychedelic explosion of wild fills, triplets, and more.
By the way.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really
and then
interesting.
it's not
Listen to
the same pattern. You can notice some like it if it's played like one line is okay. It's maybe the first line is not similar to the next. It's like different patterns.
But I think I have noticed Ringo's left hand. You know that? He usually do like this.
Oh.
Yeah, but that guy, you really second me on that. That I think that's Ringo.
isolated vocal track. you can hear that there was originally a different, simpler drum part in this latter section, likely recorded during the backing track and spilling over here into the other microphones.
Oh, won't you come out to play? Dear Prudence, greet the brand new day.
Because the drums in the final version of this section,
like the first one was kind of very low, mild. It was kind of mild, and then for the final one, you can see it's more energetic.
Are different, we can safely assume that they were added later on. Even more interestingly, the sound of the drum kit changes halfway through this latter section. Listen to the isolated drum track. Pay attention in particular to the snare drum. This switch seems to indicate that not only was this latter part overdubbed, it may have been recorded in multiple segments and stitched together. And here's where the debate comes.
I'm noticing like they are not kind of the same pattern. It's like a combined part, like combined pieces or something.
Something overlapped.
In. Some fans argue that this wilder, overdubbed part is in fact played by Ringo, not by Paul. The proponents of the Ringo theory claim that this end section...
that's why you said like you've noticed the left hand of Ringo.
Ringo, usually mix it. It's just like a DJ mixing. That's a...
by the way, that's a good one.
It wasn't something that Paul could have played. They point to other examples in the Beatles catalog that bear a striking resemblance to Ringo's style, such as the end section of Strawberry Fields Forever, or the fills on Rain, or Blue Jay Way. There are different explanations proposed for how and why this might have happened. Some suggest that Ringo had already come back from his Mediterranean excursion by the end of the Trident sessions, dropping by surreptitiously to add some of his own flair to the track. Others claim that Ringo's part could have been added at some other point before the track was mixed at EMI Studios a few weeks later on October 13th. This debate among fans is not new either. I found conversations online as far back as the late 90s discussing this. The theory appears again and again.
So fans did notice, but maybe the Beatles themselves didn't give an official statement on
By the way.
Yeah, that's why everyone was like torn up, like they were not sure if it's Ringo, if it's not Ringo.
See what Raylan Given says. I don't care what anyone says. Those fields are Ringo's. They were dubbed in. As I said, for me, I noticed it with those mix up of some good drama rhythms.
Yeah, and the brand says that anyone who thinks that was Paul on drums at the end doesn't have a critical ear. It's 100% Ringo. Yeah.
And that's 2019, and the first comment was in 1998. Here it is, 1998, 21st of October. I have read that the drumming for the first two tracks of the White album back in the USSR and DearPrudence had Pauls on drums. I refuse to accept this for DearPrudence. The drumming sounds way too much like Ringo's. Especially during the drum solo beat during the end. The fills and the licks are trademark Ringo. Any info, I've given that info. Yeah, that's trademark for Ringo. And there is a point that the commentary we did talking about his left hand. He's a left-handed drumist.
By the way,
and playing the drums, he usually played with that. Let's go.
As far back as the late 90s discussing this. The theory appears again and again on Beatle message boards, Reddit posts, and YouTube comments. In 2018, Dear Prudence was remixed for the White Album Deluxe Edition by Giles Martin. Also included on the box set was a new stripped-down mix that featured only the drum track and John's vocals and rhythm guitar. It's neat to hear this simplified version, but because it's only a remix of the existing tracks, it doesn't definitively give us an answer either way as to who's playing the drums. Ultimately, the various explanations for the Ringo theory simply don't have any evidence to support them. If Ringo had shown up at the Trident sessions after his Greek vacation, there probably would be some record of this momentous return, either in recollections or documentation. And there's no evidence that the 8-track tape received any further instrumental overdubs after it left Trident. As for the claim that Paul wasn't capable of playing this part, that premise is easily challenged too with some clear counterexamples. Yeah. In addition to his drum contributions on Back in the USSR, Martha My Dear, and the Ballad of John and Yoko, Paul also has a long and respectable list of drum credits following his Beatle days, including on his first solo album, McCartney, and throughout the Wings album, Band on the Run. Other musicians have even invited him to play on their own songs, such as on Steve Miller's My Dark Hour and more.
So Paul did have some skills as well.
Yeah, as a drumist.
Yeah, because even you've noticed in some songs, they were really great.
Yeah.
The drums were great.
Recently on the Foo Fighters' Sunday Rain. So Paul certainly could have pulled this off in 1968, especially using Trident's 8-track recorder to help add and substitute parts. If you thought Dear Prudence featured Ringo on drums, you're certainly not alone. I also used to assume this was the case. After all, it has all the hallmarks of Ringo's style, which no doubt served as an inspiration for Paul's approach here. Funnily enough, even the Beatles' rock band shows Ringo on the drum set. What do you think? Is this Paul, or is it really Ringo? Let me know in the comments. As with many of these debates, the truth isn't nearly as interesting to me as the debate itself. Despite having individual talents and personalities, they were able to emulate each other's styles and create a cohesive sound. Thanks to this, Dear Prudence still has an unquestionably Beatle vibe, even if it doesn't feature all 4 Beatles. As for the song itself, there is some ineffable quality about Dear Prudence that has hooked me ever since I first heard it. Everything in the song simply works, as it slowly builds from a gentle, delicate lullaby, adding layers along the way until that transcendent climax, all in less than 4 minutes. I even love its ironic placement on the White Album, coming right off the rocking, tongue-in-cheek opener Back in the USSR, dropping us from 30,000 feet into this incredibly different tone and mood. If the White Album was about subverting expectations, it's hard to imagine a more fitting 2-song sequence to have kicked it off, or to have wrapped it up, with the 2 last songs on the album, Revolution 9 and Good Night, also curiously missing Ringo's drumming. Maybe a nod to his brief absence during the sessions, or just a funny coincidence. Even on its own, Dear Prudence is a widely beloved masterpiece, regularly covered by other artists, and often ranked high on Beatle fan lists. And even though it wasn't a hit single or a song that regularly gets airplay, it holds a very special place in the hearts of many Beatles fans, this one included. As always, please subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for listening.
Okay.
That is it.
Wow, that was a great one. And you guys can continue with the conversation at the comments. What do you think?
Who played that? And just to...
Who played the drums? Was it Ringo or Paul, or was Ringo's drums attached to it or something?
But just to our information, we didn't know that this song was recorded by the three Beatles members. We didn't know that.
That's what I'm saying. I was shocked, like, okay. Until recently, after we watched Ringo's documentary, and that's where we noticed that at some point he walked away of the Beatles, and at some point some songs they recorded without his drums.
Exactly. And talking to Dear Prudence drums, and the period to the time that it was recorded. I think at that time they were not having that attachment equipment or what, like to date you can play some drums somewhere, play a release somewhere, and then you come and overlap it on it. Yeah, so with this one I don't know how they came out with it on 1968.
But I feel like maybe they had, because you know, they used to attach those pieces of their recordings, maybe so that they can form a full video of the song. Of course, they will come, maybe record drums, record what, and then they attach them. So of course they had an idea.
They had an idea of attaching it, or maybe with Paul's. Let's not underestimate his capabilities. Being like you have been left 3 members, and you didn't want your fans to notice. He could really try to make it mimic everything.
But
that the
people are saying
there.
There's a first part of the drums. Yes, you can notice that, but at the end part of it, like people notice that end part of it is not Paul's, it's just Ringo. I think at some part, yes, Paul played, but also they attached some Ringo's part as well.
Okay. Yeah. For me, maybe I could support Paul by saying that as of from the beginning, he was trying to mimic it, and the more he tried to do it, the perfect it became. So towards the end, he had already perfected that.
So you feel like Ringo was not in the
he
was
might
not
miss.
in. The Ringo's drums were not in.
Yeah, you might miss, but according to what I heard, that was Ringo's.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. Maybe yes, Paul had some hand in it, but also Ringo's drums were also included.
Yeah, I feel that was Ringo's. But guys, what about your side? How do you feel, or what's your stand?
What's your
stand? What's your thought or stand? How do you see about that? Don't forget to comment, like it, subscribe.
Exactly. Otherwise, thank you guys for your time. We will be waiting for your thoughts. The debate goes on, so participate in it. We will be waiting to hear from you. Otherwise, see you on the next.
For this episode.
Exactly.
We are out.
Bye bye.